77% from the field, 88% from three. Most importantly, maybe?
Yeah, most importantly.
0 turnovers. And as you know, Richard, for a Steph Curry team, especially when they're pushing the pace like that, that is tough. There is so much to unpack here. I want just a quick little story, though. Michael Malone has said his parents, they watch the game in their house, but they can't watch it in the same room because they get each other too riled up and too nervous. They have to watch it in different floors. These two games, they almost certainly are not speaking during those games. They are way too
They'll be
nervous
out of their misery soon.
Well,
so they will be.
Especially with this lineup. What makes it so tough to defend, Shanae?
It's the unlimited movement and also the unlimited range that their perimeter players have. And if you think about that, I mean, they're constantly on the go. And that means you can't sleep as a defender. If you overplay, they back cut. And if you're in the paint, they shoot out with a pin down or a staggered screen. They're constantly in motion. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm showing my Disney Channel stuff, but like, we're the boys in motion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly way out of your generation. They're the boys. They're the grown men in motion. And they also have the range to knock it down. So no matter where they are, whether it's a backdoor cut to get a two, a layup, or, way beyond the arc, you've got Poole, you've got Thompson, and you've got Curry that can knock it down. And lastly, I'll say this. We should have known better. I know a lot of times when we talk about the awards and how fine of a margin there has been, most improved, Jordan Poole, if there wasn't that situation with Steph and Clay being out and that oscillation there where a couple of their numbers went up and high, he would have probably been one of the front runners, if not potentially winning this. So we should have known better over the course of the season, watching Jordan Poole play, saying that this is the postseason where he could really be the breakout player.
If the Harrison Barnes, Kevin Durant lineups were known as the death lineup, Stephen A., I mean, I'm tasking you with the person to come up with a name for the lineup. What stood out to you the most?
I said it's Lethal Weapon 3, and I'm going to stand by that. Here's the reality. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have universally been recognized as the greatest shooting backcourt that we've ever seen. Nobody can deny that. Now they've added Poole. Have you seen the range on this brother? Ooh. He's pulling up from logos the way Clay and Steph pulls up from logos, okay? And guess what? He mirrors Steph more than he mirrors Clay. Because as much of a sniper as Clay is a catch-and-shoot dude. If he's not doing that, he's got your back. He's got his back to the basket. He's posting up smaller players. He's shooting turnaround jump shots. Jordan Poole is the one moving without the basketball, catching and shooting on the run, pulling up from the logo off the dribble, going through one man, two men, three men, and dribbling and taking the ball to the hole and finishing at the basket. The arsenal in this brother's game is so lethal right now. When you combine that with the greatness of Steph Curry, who strikes fear in anybody, you understand, and Richard Jefferson understands this better than anybody at this table. When you step past half court and you are a threat, you extend the defense. Therefore, you expose them to all their vulnerabilities because you don't get to have but so much help. That's when you have to worry about one. Then Clay comes back, last 3 games of the regular season, averages over 33. Well, that's 2. And now you got this brother, who, by the way, was in the G League last year.
G League.
And now he's here. In the NBA, he is that gifted. And then you have Draymond, who's a point forward and a basketball savant. And last but not least, you have Wiggins. You have 5 guys who can handle the ball. 5 guys who have the ability to take their man one-on-one. At least 4 of them who can drop jump shots, and Dre hit a few last night. And 3 of the most lethal shooters in these playoffs. I'm sorry. The Warriors are something special, and I think it's going to take the Phoenix Suns to have a chance to stop them, because when you shoot the ball like that and the 3 of you are aligned and in sync with one another, it's one thing to have the talent. It's another thing to be in sync, and they are in sync. And I know it's not a matchup. Denver's not the real litmus test. I get that. But my God. Give you your thumbs at the beginning of the season. Now let's pump the brakes in a certain respect. Styles make fights. Matchups matter. And we understand without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr., with what Jokic has available to him, and more importantly, what he has to deal with himself, which is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, one of the elite defenders in this game today in Draymond Green. That's enough of a load for him to deal with without, especially without having to go on the court with such a minimal amount of help. That's the situation. Denver's completely overmatched. We all know that. We think that they're fortunate enough. We want to give credit where credit is due, but we think they'll be fortunate enough to win a game in this series because what we're seeing from the Golden State Warriors right now is something spectacular. I understand styles make fights. I understand matchups matter. The Denver Nuggets are not the Phoenix Suns. Make no mistake about that. That is not the Phoenix Suns, all right? The Phoenix Suns are on a different level, and they're clearly the team to beat. But if there's one team in the National Basketball Association who could take them out, it would be the Golden State Warriors. We understand the greatness of Steph Curry. All we were worried about was whether or not his foot was going to be okay. Credit to him, and not just his superstar status, JJ, but just the kind of person he is. This is the star amongst stars. We all know he's the face of the organization, okay? What does he do? He goes to the Warriors, and he tells them, I don't mind coming off the bench. I'll come back, but I don't mind coming off the bench. Let me just play the last 6 minutes of each quarter. Let me do it that way to get my bearings under them. I don't need to be in the starting lineup. I don't need to disrupt this flow that we're seeing. Well, a guy like Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson, who's coming on strong. Klay Thompson ends the last 3 games of the regular season averaging 33. He's been lights out. He got on a little tear yesterday, hit 4 or 5 3-pointers, in a span. You look at Jordan Poole. This brother is 22 years old. He was in the G League last year. Listen, it ain't just his jump shot. It's the range on that shot. It's not just his shooting ability. It's his ability to create his own shot off the dribble because he got a handle. He can finish at the basket. He makes good decisions. He's absolutely fearless, and he matches the emotion that Steph particularly will give you on that basketball court to get that crowd riled up. I got a name for them. And are y'all ready for this name, JJ?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this name that I'm about to give you?
Yeah.
Everybody been talking about Dub, Big 3, the Dub 3, all these corny names and all of this other stuff like that. No, y'all. Go back, JJ Redick, to the days of Georgia Tech. You know where I'm going. Kenny Anderson, Dennis Scott, Brian Oliver. Lethal Weapon 3. That is the nickname, Warriors. Stephen A just gave you a marketing tool. Lethal Weapon 3. That's Poole, that's Klay, that's Steph. It's who they are. And all I'm saying is my last point is reiterating my first point. Mm-hmm. They sat up there and said, we listening to Stephen A. Stephen A's right, y'all. This is what it is.
How many times has he
Watch
come
First
from
Take to
7
Stephen
minutes
A.
after
Because he
that's
know
his
what the
four?
hell he talk about.
Stephen A, that's
Warriors.
I think that's 4. We got the outfit.
Warriors.
He's right. The Warriors, the dynasty needs to credit him.
For all the bad takes, how quick you are to take credit for a good take.
I don't think they will. I think the road is going to be difficult, and I get it. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, all that experience. But Klay still, to me, is not all the way back. I think it's still going to take until next season. I'm not going to give up on the Phoenix Suns. I think with Devin Booker, that hamstring injury maybe keeps them out of this series. I think they'll get past New Orleans. But the one thing about the Phoenix Suns and what they've done this year about taking the regular season seriously, and they got so close to the finish line last year, Molly, and Chris Paul, he wants to end his career. Not that he's going to end this year, but he wants to have a championship on that resume. I think the motivation is there. I think the experience is there. And their role players, guys like Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, I think they're ready for this moment. By the way, Mikal Bridges, and you'll like this, Steve, because I know we complain about players not playing. He led the league in total minutes. Do you know if this was the year 2003, he would have been 36th in total minutes. This year, he's first. There's just something about this Phoenix Suns team. Yeah. I just don't think Golden State is going to get it all together. I think the road is too difficult. Again, all the respect in the world for that group. I don't think they do it this year.
Okay.
Well, to piggyback off of what you said, I mean, as it pertains to people being available and showing up to work, there's only 5 players in the NBA that haven't missed a game this year.
Yep.
5 out of 450 plus.
Amazing.
That is the lowest in NBA history. That's a damn travesty. And that's something that the NBA will address. You and I both know if collective bargaining negotiations are going to be very, very interested with some of the stuff that some of these players, not most, not all, but some of these players have tried to get away with. NBA ain't having it, and damn it, I don't blame them. Now, having said all of that, you're talking about the Phoenix Suns and how they're worthy and warranted, and it's warranted that they're the favorites. I don't disagree with that. I think they are the favorites. I think from start to finish, when you consider the level of consistency that they've put on display, they, without question, have been the best team in basketball. I've seen the best team in basketball get knocked off before, and so have you. and I think this is a year it's going to happen. I ain't betting against these Golden State Warriors, bro. And ain't no there's no shade. There's no shade on the Phoenix Suns. What I saw from the Warriors, and I got it, matchups, styles make fights. We know that Denver's in over their head because they don't have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. I get all of that. When you look at Jokic and the big boy DeMarcus Cousins as well, these are guys that you got that set up, but that doesn't work in a matchup like this because you got thoroughbreds, road runners on the other side that are the Golden State Warriors, and they ran Denver out of the state in game 2, out of the state. I mean, I haven't seen a performance like that. I mean, it was something spectacular to behold. And I was actually going to go to that game Monday night, Frank. I was actually going to go to that game. And I said, you know what? I got to be back here too early. I ain't going to do it. So I didn't go to the game. And damn it, I regret it. I really regret it. I should have went to that game because it was that spectacular to behold. Steph Curry, Clay, and then Jordan Poole. This young brother is something special. He is something special. And he's more like Steph Curry than Clay. His movement without the ball, his ball handling skills, his ability to use those skills to get to the basket, and the range with which he pulls up from. Now, that mirrors both Clay and Steph. But Clay don't handle the ball like that, okay? And so when I look at it from that perspective, I just say, I got a nickname for them, Frank Isola. It's Lethal Weapon 3. Remember, I ain't talking about the movie with Danny Glover and Mel Gibson Jr.
Get out of
I'm
here.
not talking about the movie.
You're reaching.
Hold on. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about Georgia Tech, Kenny Anderson, Dennis Scott, Brian Oliver. You remember that back in the day. It was something special. And I'm looking at Poole, Steph, and Clay, and that's my nickname for them, Lethal Weapon
hang on a second.
3.
Hang on. You must be going a little soft out on the West Coast. We didn't know anything about Cam Johnson last year. What did he do for Phoenix? Mikal Bridges, think about the way that he played. Same thing with DeAndre. And how about Campaign coming off the bench? So the players that we had question marks about last year for Phoenix, they delivered. Be honest now, Steve. Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole has been great, no question about it. How's he going to do in a big road game against a team like Phoenix? We don't know that. You're just assuming that, and it's not. If his agent already called, and thank you for putting him in the same category as Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, but we don't know that yet.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm talking about this young talent. First of all, he's averaging 29. I just want to throw that out there. He's averaging 29 and a half in the first 2 games, in his first 2 playoff games. It's not like it's not, I'm just saying he had 30 and 29. That's number 1, right? Number 2. I'm looking at his skill set. Certainly, you know what? The jury's still out. Got to show up. If you go up against Memphis in the next round, assuming they get past Minnesota, you got to go up against them brothers who won all the smoke, right? Came in the game 2, handled their business like they were supposed to. They better had, damn it, okay? Then you got Phoenix. If you're fortunate enough to get past that, don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware of the challenges. I'm just saying, I believe in those brothers. You believe in certain people, why can't I?